All right.
Oh, it's always a little I don't know. And it's an anxious moment for Jason when I'm coming in and there's a little blank box there. I don't know if I'm being replaced or not. You know, like it's just.
Yeah, we're bringing in. Well, now I've forgotten his name. Cousin. Mm-hmm. What was the cousin that came in for the Brady Bunch?
Oh, I don't know.
Cousin.
I don't know.
Satan.
Cousin
Satan.
Was this
It was Cousin Satan, I believe.
Was this a jump the shark moment?
Or
beyond the jump the shark moment?
It was like, Cindy and Bobby were way too old for people to think they're cute, so they brought in Cousin Bill. I can't think of his name now. Cousin Rob, Cousin Dingus. I don't remember. But he sucked.
Do you know who knows?
Do you know?
The internet knows.
Well, the internet does know.
Yeah, Cousin Oliver.
Oliver, yes.
Oh, it's that kid.
Cousin Oliver, yeah.
I remember him. Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah, he sucked.
No, don't be mean. I'm sure the guy, do you know how old
Cousin Oliver sucked. Like today? What, like?
No, this is interesting.
3 years ago. Yeah, today. No, I don't know how old he is. I imagine he's got to be late 50s?
57.
57.
So he's like your age. Did you know that he did he did the voice of lots of characters in television shows and stuff?
I did not know that. I don't even know the name of that actor.
He was the name of the actor is Robbie Rist.
Robbie Rist.
And which really can't be his real name. And he was Doc McStuffins. He was Stuffy in Doc McStuffins.
Oh, okay.
He was Wiz
show.
in Kid Video, which I don't know what that is.
I remember that being a show, but I don't.
He was Maroda in Final Fantasy X.
Ah.
For whatever that's worth.
Which I think is hilarious that the sequel to Final Fantasy X was Final Fantasy X-2. What the heck?
I don't know. I think it's hilarious that you know.
Just because it's so absurd. I don't know. It's just like, what?
You ready for this one, though? He was Michelangelo in the 1990 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He really? Now that's interesting. Because you know what? I was in a movie directed by Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, a guy named Leif Tilden. He was a really cool guy.
Oh, so I am 2 degrees
separated
from Leif Tilden, and I'm
your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle number is 2.
But I'm 3 degrees. It sounds like I'm 3 degrees separated from Robbie Rist.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Look at them apples.
Yeah, feeling a little better about yourself now. Thought it was a bad day, didn't you? Turned out okay.
It was a challenging day. It was a challenging day, not necessarily a bad day. He also, because this is what this episode's about now, he provided the music for Sharknado.
He provided the music for it. Now, did he compose it or?
And the theme song for Sharknado franchise.
It's a theme song?
And I find this interesting that they make this last. He played Ted Baxter's adopted son on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I kind of feel bad for this guy because he's like a
child-based interloper for a number of different shows, and then he went then he went ham on the VO market.
Apparently, he's a musician, obviously, because he did the other stuff.
Well,
I bet he's got some. Here's the deal. I bet he has some interesting stories.
Oh, I have no doubt of that. Especially being a little kid on the Brady Bunch set, seeing all these people, seeing like,
he played Martin in the short-lived Sanford and Son spinoff, Grady.
There was a Grady spinoff.
I didn't know that. Wait, which character was Grady? Was he the
Grady?
the son? Was he
no, that's Lamont. Grady
Lamont.
was his like kind of. Wow, it's taking me back now. It's his buddy that would show up every now and then. They were like friends, and then they would get in an argument and all that stuff. But I don't remember. For some reason, I see him as being drunk a lot, but that may be Otis from Andy Griffith, kind of honing in on that memory or something.
He was in 3 episodes of The Bionic Woman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I still watch that sometimes.
The Bionic Woman, that was around that same time, so I was a little kid for that.
In passing, yeah. He in 1980 wrist played Dr. Z on Galactica 1980.
He's Dr. Z. Oh yeah, he sure is. Oh boy, I completely forgot about that. That is the worst show ever made. Galactica 1980, and this is coming from somebody who loves dearly the original Battlestar Galactica. Galactica 80 is, oh my God.
Why did they call it that? Why did they call it that?
Well, because it was like, it's a sequel series, right? They did the Battlestar Galactica normal show in 78 and 9, I want to say, because there's two seasons, I believe. And then it got canceled, and they're like, let's give it another shot. And they couldn't get any of the cast to come back for it, except for Lauren Green. And I want to say
Barry Van Dyke. Barry Van Dyke, wasn't he from the original?
Jerry Van Dyke? No.
Barry Van, not Jerry.
Barry Van Dyke? I don't know about that.
He looks familiar. Well, Lauren Green came back. That's what's important.
Lauren Green came back with a beard. And then for whatever reason, they decided to go... It's almost like they were like testing out the Wesley Crusher idea by having a super duper intelligent child be in charge of things.
Dr. Z.
And it went about as well as the first season Wesley Crusher did. Because Crusher ended up being an okay character, and they started actually writing for him. But in the first season, yes, absolutely, you wanted to set him on fire. And that's not Will Wheaton's fault. He was good, but he was not given a lot to work with on that.
Then there was a Battlestar Galactica the miniseries.
That's probably the one that came out.
That was 2003.
Yeah, that was the new. That was the reboot. Yeah, and then there was the series came out of that. Yeah. And we can talk about that, but yeah, I have opinions.
How did we get here?
You were worried you were going to be replaced.
Oh yeah. Still a concern. Still a concern.
Can you see what Mr. Wrist is doing these days?
I do have abandonment issues, Marcus. I'm pretty sure. That's the only explanation I have for some of my neuroses.
Yeah. Abandonment, based on abandonment.
I'm sure. I don't know what. I don't actually have any basis for that. Like I don't have any memories, repressed or otherwise. I guess if they're repressed, I wouldn't know.
It's true. I have a lot of repressed memories.
That's kind of scary. Isn't that scary? Yeah, walking around thinking like, well, there's a whole bunch of things I don't remember that really messed me up.
That's a weird thing, isn't it? Like your brain. It's sort of like your personal identity, right? It's like, I don't remember this thing. And then when I suddenly am reminded of it, I think of myself back when I had forgotten it. And it seems like a different person. It's weird. It's just kind of odd. Like the things like your memories define who you are to yourself. Your actions define who you are to everybody else. But inside your head, what you remember is who you are.
Right, and I think it's also sobering to remind yourself that everyone is the protagonist in their own story.
Yes, yeah. A lot of writers forget that.
So, and when you are working, when you're just like in a relationship, in a friendship, whatever, colleagues, like that voice in your head that thinks that you're the center of the world, they have that same voice.
Yeah.
Maybe many voices.
It could be. Yeah.
So there's that. I gotta bring this up. I don't think this will run long, but it came up. It came up today during the lunch break when I was yelling like, "Hold the boat!" Like, hold the boat. And it reminded me instantly of this moment, well, many moments as a kid, where I grew up, the house I grew up in. We were on this corner lot, and it was right by the intersection of kind of a main street, Chesco Avenue, and then the road where we were, and then the bus stop was right there. The bus stop was right there. And so the neighborhood kids would all come to that corner. Not all the neighborhood kids, but the kids from the street, and they would come there. And
weirdly popular.
It wasn't like a scene out of Fat Albert. It wasn't like that interesting. It was just like a few people. Anyway, the point is that from our little like kitchen, like our little kitchenette, like with the bay window situation thing, we could see like the bus, like when it would come up this one road behind our house, and then it would turn the corner and come down this road, and then we would see. This is probably part of my problem, Marcus. This is this may be the root of some of my issues. If it was too cold outside, for example, I didn't have to wait out there with the riffraff. I could wait until we knew the bus was coming, then go outside, right? I could stay warm and comforted. But then what happens is that's a slippery slope, Marcus, because then you lead down the path of, well, maybe I can, take a little more time eating and watching whatever the morning shows are on TV. Or maybe I can wake up a little bit late. You know what I mean? You get this very languorous, the right word, languorous, like morning routine as like a 7-year-old.
Right.
Well, on more than one occasion, let me go back. There was also this other issue I had. I didn't like bumps in my socks.
Okay.
So it was a big problem when I would put socks on. If I guess there was like the seam or something, or maybe just a little spot. Like if there was, it's like Princess and the Pea. I think like if there was a bump of some sort, I just could not take it.
Right.
And so I would insist, I gotta fix it. Right. But the shoes are the last thing, Marcus. The shoes are the last thing, right? Because so when you're putting shoes on, time is of the essence, and and not just because of the shoe thing, but I'm sure because of other things. There were many occasions where my mother would have to step outside of the house and yell to the world, "Hold the bus! Hold the bus!" And it was a little humiliating. And then
you were being languorous.
Little Jason would come running with a lunchbox, swinging in the air. Then you get on, and it's like, I think maybe one time the bus left without me. That's a terrible feeling too.
It is. I have been left.
You watch the bus go, and you're like, oh, I still have dreams about this kind of thing. Like the bus is like, oh, there it goes. What are you gonna do now? Yeah.
Yeah. And you feel like the whole world just ended on you. And it's like
when you're 7, you're exactly. No.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do now for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to be a hobo under the bridge. I can't go home.
I know. And I'm thinking like probably what my mom should have said is like, I don't know how you're getting to school, but good luck. Figure it out, kid. But
it's that way. Get walking.
That's right. You better go. If you start now, you won't be too late. Okay. So anyway, I had to share that because it was on my mind, and I don't think I've ever told you about that. And it was one of those like repressed things. Like I haven't thought about that bus situation for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. the whole hold the bus thing is a little weird anyway, right? It's like if you're with a group of people and you see that the bus you're supposed to be trying to catch has arrived and you're a little too far away from the bus stop, and you figure I'll go real fast and get them to hold the bus. But then when you get up there, you're like, what am I supposed to do? Just tell the bus driver don't go. I mean, he's on a schedule. There's like 35 people in this bus that are going to hate me if I'm like, no. So we're not on the bus yet. So you, sir, are going to sit right here and wait for my slow friends. And
what you really need to do is don't tell him to hold the bus. Stand with one foot on the bus and one foot on the street. Just be a human shield.
And just stare at the bus driver going, I dare you.
Just say like, I got a cramp. I can't move.
I wish I could choose whether to be on the bus or on the ground, but the pain is too much. Yeah.
Oh, here comes Billy.
Oh, never mind. I think I feel better okay now. Yeah, okay.
It must have been one of those missing my friend's cramps.
Yeah. It's just that the whole entitlement of that. It's like, we're a little late, but let's stop the entire system instead of us just waiting for the next bus.
I feel like everyone has. I mean, there's actually a lot of science behind this, like psychological science, like about line waiting and where and how, like if somebody cuts in front, like how irritated are you, and a lot of that's based on how close you are to, like if you're really close to where you want to be,
right,
and somebody like is let into the line, you usually are more forgiving than when you're like way back and you see it happen. Because I think like what happens in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, in my mind, I'm like, is this going to be? Is like, how many times is this going to happen?
Yeah, no, that's what goes through my head too.
I'm fine, but like if it happens 16 times, well, now I'm much further back than I actually realize, like than it actually appears like I am, right? So there's that, and then I think that people on the bus in that kind of situation, they also have their own level of tolerance for it. Like, depends on their situation. Like if somebody's in a hurry for something, then they're going to be very intolerant, right? And if somebody's just like, no place to be except the place I'm going, but I don't need to be there anytime soon, then they're going to be fine with waiting. Right. So it's almost like you need a little vote.
We let this guy on or not?
Like all in favor of waiting, pull on the chain.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding.
I always have a lot of sympathy for the people, especially if it's like people with kids or something like that. And they're running. They're really honestly making an effort to get there. The one that I hate is the people that like refuse to go to cross that line into a jog or a run. That they're walking.
At least fast walk. At least like act like I'm coming. Like.
But like I'm not going to be so inconvenienced by my own lateness that I am going to elevate my heart rate in any way. Now those people, I'm like, okay, no, I'm all for waiting right here until they get to the door and then bye.
But they might have a device. They might have a device implanted in them that if their heart rate goes above a certain amount, their head explodes or something like that.
They should have thought of that before they started trying for the bus.
You've seen this. But the buses, maybe they're just trying to get to the place that'll remove the thing.
So this is all turning into a 90s Keanu Reeves movie.
You're like, it's the worst kind of situation, right? Because you're like, I have to get to the bus. If I don't get to the bus, I don't get this thing taken out of me. But if I hurry to get to the bus, it's going to explode.
Yeah. Now, if I see Snake Plissken running up to the bus, I'm like, fine, wait on him.
So again, you have your own internal threshold and barometer.
I got my standards that I need to follow. I understand they're only mine. That's cool. I would extend that even just to Kurt Russell in general. If he's running for the bus, I'm fine to wait for him.
Can I ask you to revisit something?
Oh God, no.
Oh.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Can we talk about your smoke alarms?
Yes, we can. Because I sent you a pin about them.
Yeah.
Because
and I just love this. I love this subject. I love this
It subject. Is a freaking saga at this point. But, okay, so I mentioned earlier in the show, as in not this show, but many, many episodes ago, about how one of our smoke alarms decided it was just going to start randomly chirping in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. And so infrequently that it was impossible to tell which one was actually doing it. Now, our house has one on the bottom floor, that one right there, one on the main floor, right. But upstairs where the bedrooms are, there's four, count them, four of them up there.
That's code, right? Yeah.
Right, I'm sure it is. And makes sense, that's where all the smoke's going to collect because it's the top. Fine.
Well, that's where the bedrooms are too, yes.
Well, each bedroom has one, and then the landing where the stairwell, comes out has two, in there. And there's no walls or anything. There's just two in that room, which is
is one? Are they both smoke detectors, or is one like a carbon
they're both
monoxide
combination smoke and CO detectors.
Okay,
but not corrections officer, but carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
I've been listening too much Public Enemy, but the other night, and this was a long time ago, one of them was going wacky and beeping in the middle of the night. And I think I finally, after 3 nights of this, I finally figured out which one it was, and I took it down, and I'm just going to replace it because it says beeps 3 times, waits a long time, beeps 3 times. That means the unit is bad. I'm like, okay, one of them went bad. That sucks. So I ordered a new one, and we put it in there, and that's fine. Now, fast forward 8 months or whatever to the other night, and it starts doing it again. Or one of them does. And I'm like, this again. And I figure out that it's one of the ones in the main stairway. I take that one down. I'm going to figure this out tomorrow. But I go to sleep, and they're still beeping. There's another beeping.
No.
Another beeping one. And I'm like, I thought I'd do. All right, I'll take that one down. Mm-hmm. And this happens one more time, and it's one of the things where I close the door to the bedroom, and the beeping I heard was not muffled by the door, so must be the one in the bedroom. So I got up there.
I mean, it sounds right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it seems like a reasonable assumption to make.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I pulled down that one. So now 3 of the 4 smoke alarms on the top floor
are down.
The only other one is all the way on the other side of the house, on the 3rd floor, on the other side of the house where the other bedroom is. It's in that bedroom.
Okay.
I wake up in the middle of the night to chirping. Loud chirping. And now I don't know what's going on. I go out and I'm trying to figure it out. Where it is, and you can.
Middle of the night.
Okay, it's the only time it happens, and almost clockwork 2 a.m. I don't know what's going on at 2 a.m. that's setting these things off.
We've talked about this. There's science behind this.
And I see some of that, but it's it's almost like clockwork that it's at 2 a.m. But anyway, so I'm doing the thing, where you're moving your head around, you're kind of doing the daredevil thing, trying to locate the sounds by moving your ears around, right?
And it's not the problem is not a constant. It's not constant, right?
That's what's so bad about it.
So you have to wait. You have to position your head based on the data that you have from the last time it chirped, right? Which is imperfect as it is. So you're kind of like a cocker spaniel, tilting, huh?
And there's no guarantee it's going to do it again because it's been very intermittent. It's not, if you could count to 20 and it goes off again, that would be one thing. But sometimes it's 20 seconds, sometimes it's like a minute and a half, and you just don't know. And sometimes you give up, and then as soon as you move your head and go somewhere else, you hear beep, and you're like, ah. But anyway, so I go, well, the only one up here is the one that's in there. So I shut that door, and I shut our door.
Okay.
And then I was like, I'll just do that. I won't be able to hear it tonight. I'll figure it out in the morning. Because it's also 3 a.m. at this point because I've been trying to figure it out for about an hour. And I was like, I need sleep. This is stupid.
What's Emily doing at this point?
She's asleep. She's tossing and turning
is she really
a little
asleep?
bit.
Here's the thing: is she really asleep, or is she like? I know what the problem is. This is not a 2-person problem. He's got a handle on this. He can take care of this, and so I'm just going to go back to sleep.
That's part of it.
But I'm not going to move and let him know that.
And sometimes, though, that she has trouble sleeping, so she'll take like a Tylenol PM or something. And
so she's out then.
Out, right?
Oh, she's, yeah.
So it's one of those two things. Because this is a multi-night deal, so it's probably both at one point or another. So anyway, close the other bedroom door, close our door, so that I can't hear it, or I can hear it faintly enough that it's not going to bother me. I'll figure it out later. I go back to sleep. In the room.
No.
I wake up and it's coming from the flipping bedroom.
It's like a horror movie.
It is. It's like the telltale smoke detector. I can't find it.
The call's coming from inside the room. The call's coming from inside the room.
It is, man. And the weird thing, I was like, okay, all right. I'm still trying to logic this out like a reasonable human being.
Sure.
And I'm like, maybe a trick of the sound, and it went through some vents or something from that room to this room. It's the only explanation I can come up with.
Magic bullet.
The next day, I pull that one down. There are 4 places for smoke detectors. There are 0 smoke detectors in those places. That night, I don't know where that's coming from now. There's nowhere it can possibly be. I went downstairs. When that happened, I was like, okay, it's got to be the one that's downstairs. I go downstairs. I stand under the one that's on the second floor, and I hear upstairs. Like it's muffled because it's upstairs and not where I am.
You were just up there.
Right. So like I was assuming that are, bouncing around, because it's that piercing high-pitched noise that you can't really, locate. And so I was like, at this point, it has to be the one that's on the second floor. Stood under the one that was on the second floor. It went off again, but that one wasn't the one that went off. Something upstairs went off. And so now I don't know. But yeah, like you said, like you were saying there, do I have an attic? I do. It's like a weird little space above the ceiling. It's not much of an attic. But
it's up there.
That's the only thing I can think of, unless they put it in, like, I can't imagine why they would do this, but put it in like one of the return ducts, like before you hit the filter.
No,
like it's just so like that's what I was thinking. Like no way. But at this point, I'm like, well, it ain't in the friggin' house. And that's the thing is these things have to be user serviceable, right? If the backup battery on this thing goes bad, I got to be able to replace it. If they stick it in the attic or in a duct or they've cask of Amontillado it into the wall, then what am I going to do about that? I can't do anything about it. So it's just the craziest thing, because I swear, when I'm standing like we're at the foot of our bed and staring like right at the wall, dead center of the room, it sounds like it's coming from right in front of me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And to quote Lady Macbeth, I see nothing, yet all there is I see. It is why. And the fact that this happens at 2 a.m. when I'm at my
so it's still
cognitive peak.
It's still happening.
Well, it didn't happen last night.
Okay.
I don't know if that's because it decided to stop happening and it might happen again. I don't know if I really did solve the problem, but like temporally speaking, I was getting echoes from the past in the future. Mm-hmm. Or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that there is another unit of some kind up there making that noise. And now I don't know if those 4 smoke detectors were all fine and it's whatever this phantom device is that's beeping and has been the problem the whole time. Right? It's like those weren't even actually wrong.
They weren't even the problem.
I was hearing that
They've all been wrongly accused.
They've been wrongly accused. Now I got a pile of 4 freaking things down here.
Down there. See one here.
Yeah, because I put them down here because if the battery backup was working, I didn't want to hear him up there, right?
Your studio space is very safe now.
It's yeah. Well,
so
we haven't caught on fire yet, so I'm banking on that stay in the trend.
God forbid. So are these the kind that if you push one to test it, they will all go off?
Yeah, they are.
But is it only if they're plugged in, or will they just? Or is it? It doesn't
no,
matter?
They have to be plugged in for that to work. Yeah. Okay. And that's another thing. I'm not entirely sure how these things are rigged up, because for them to be connected to one another, and this is what I'm thinking might be the problem, is number one, I don't know anything about these stinking smoke detectors, but number two, it seems to me, as somebody with a master's in information systems, that there has to be some kind of controller device that all of these things are connected to for them to be networked to each other and be able to communicate with each other. Now, they could be rigged in series, I suppose, but if you unplugged one, that would make all of them not work anymore. If they were rigged in parallel,
like
that
Christmas
seems...
lights or something, you're thinking?
Right, yeah. If they're rigged in parallel, that seems a little excessive.
No. I think it's okay. So you think about those devices.
Is it a ring network? I don't know.
No. I think about those devices that you can use for using your electrical outlets to send internet through to another room. Have you ever used one of those?
Oh yeah,
they work great, but basically they're sending data, over the electrical line, over the copper, to another outlet in the house. I mean, that's running to, because they don't even have to be on the same circuit, so it's running to the circuit breaker and doing the whole thing, right? And it's getting to that other room. And it could be that they're just pulsing a signal through the copper, and they're programmed to pick up on that unique signal, and then that's what makes them all go off when one goes off.
It seems like each would need to be able to send and receive. And
they can.
But the problem is once you break that chain with taking one of them out, it seems like there would need to be a central one.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Oh, I mean, like a master? I don't know. Well, see, I don't know.
Yeah, like some kind of a controller thing.
I think you need... I mean, who's especially... Like, if you called an electrician and said, I need your help finding this thing, would they be able to do it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Could they trace it
Here's
back?
Here's the other thing.
Geolocate.
I tried to get Emily to push and hold down the thing and make it go off to see if whatever was going upstairs would go off, and it did not. It did not go off. It did not. and so this is a perplexing dilemma.
I think, you need a specialist, I think.
Yeah.
But it sucks because they're going to come out. This goes back to like our episode 1, I think. They're going to come out, and then it's going to be humiliating and emasculating, right. And they're going to be like, oh, it's this thing. It's this. It's right here. It's like in Colorado when the house is like in the summer and it was hot, and I am adjusting the thermostat down and nothing's working, and I call the people to come out, and they come out, and then they inform me you don't have AC. That's why it's not cooling.
The AC isn't coming on because there isn't one.
Aha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the soft serve ice cream machine isn't working either.
You know what's going to drive you crazy, Marcus, and I'm kind of hoping that this is what it is. What if there's just a switch somewhere that you haven't thrown?
Oh, yeah. Could be. Or that I have thrown. I've accidentally turned on the beeping noise switch.
It's like, oh, you just have to flick this switch. Okay.
Well, here's the other thing is that my friend that's also the president of our HOA, and he knows a lot about like what went into these houses, and he just got back from like they summer away, and he just got back the other day. So I'm going to talk to him about it and see like who I need to talk to. All over the place. I think they were looking at getting a summer house in like Massachusetts or something, but
cooler places.
Oh yeah. they didn't go to like Ensenada
Guatemala.
or something, but don't remember what I was going to say about. Oh yeah, his wife and Emily had drinks next door the other night, and she suggested turning off the circuit breaker to the things. And
they has to be. I mean, they have to be labeled. You have to know. I mean,
and they are. I mean, this is new construction, and they were pretty conscientious about making sure that thing was labeled right. And I went out there, and of course, the smoke detectors are on the same circuit as my office, and so it's like, great. So if I turn those off,
I'm telling you, safest place in the house. Safest place in the house.
But yeah, no, it is a mystery. I don't know what's going on, because that thing. I thought I was going nuts. I thought I was going absolutely crazy. I'm standing here. I'm looking directly at the hole in the ceiling where the thing used to be, and it's still beeping. It's like the angry ghost of my smoke detector is deciding it's going to drive me crazy in some kind of Edgar Allan Poe hellscape, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So that's the update in the Marcus's smoke detectors saga.
I can't wait to hear how this ends, and I hope it's not like a fiery disaster. And speaking of middle of the night, if this wasn't quite the middle of the night, but it was on the way to being the middle of the night. Michelle and I were going to sleep, trying to, and the last thing I do, in our routine, is I ask the Amazon device, who will not be named right now. Actually, I call in the bedroom. I've talked about this. In the bedroom, I call her computer, just to differentiate. Yeah. And so I asked her to play. I guess I directed her to play heavy rain sounds, which is I do. Okay, I see so and so play heavy rain sounds, and then she does. This particular night, she says, I can't remember the exact title of it. It was playing subway train sounds or something like that.
Who wants that?
And I kid you not, immediately launches into like you're standing on a platform in New York City, like in the subway, hearing subway sounds like all the sounds, the sounds it makes and the noise and the people and all that stuff. And I'm like, and it's all the cacophony of this. My dogs look like they're like, what the hell have you done? Like what? You broke the internet. Like, what are you doing? And they like looking at me like with this incredulous look on their face. And I said to Michelle, I said, what is this? Sleep sounds for the homeless? And I immediately regretted it. But Michelle laughed for like 5 minutes. It was like, because who else is it? I mean, I don't mean to make light of homelessness.
No, of
people.
Course not. No,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, who else? Like,
right. Well, usually, to whom is this soothing?
That's what I'm saying. Like I've heard like fans, trains, like foghorns is a thing. The beach, crickets, even highways. Like you think of things that maybe these are sounds that you had when you were a child growing up, or maybe places where you've lived, and that was the ambient sound, and it's hard. It's like if you've lived in a city for a long time, and you have adjusted to the sound of a city, then you move to the country, or you're just visiting somebody and out in the country somewhere, it's difficult to fall asleep.
Dead silent.
It's too quiet, right? And the reverse is true as well. And so, but I'm thinking like, I mean, who else sleeps with all that subway noise? Like,
right? Yeah.
What is this? It's weird, right? It's weird.
It's weird.
Why does that exist?
I can only assume that people have ambient noises for reasons other than soothing them to sleep, I guess.
I know, but where is the subway?
But why in the world would you have that? That's like the most harsh, jarring sounds that I can think of. I mean, it's like, some guy scraping metal or something. I don't know. It's like that's
like, why.
No, I can't imagine
I can understand
who that
it.
is.
You need it as a sound effect, right? You need it as like a Foley kind of thing. But
I can only assume it was a long thing, right? I mean, like when you do rain sounds,
yes,
it's like for an hour and it repeats or whatever.
Yeah. So that happened. That was. But so this kind of is in the same vein, in the same. I was on hold. Who was I on hold with? It was okay. Oh, good Lord, this is a problem. I booked our flights to Italy for our trip next March. I booked it through Amex, like Amex Travel.
Okay.
And I booked it on. It's like, it's technically a Delta flight, but I think part of the flight, at least part of the flight's, what do they call it?
Codeshare.
Not rendered, but whatever. Yeah, but it's going to be someone else. I don't know. Air France. Who the heck knows? Whatever. Not the point. The point is that they've changed this, like my return flight, they've changed it multiple times. I get these emails, and sometimes I can't even tell, like, what changed. I don't remember because they don't give me, like, the previous thing. They don't say, oh, it used to be this and now it's this. They just say, here's the new stuff. Well, now it's a flight leaving Venice at 6:25 a.m.
Ugh.
And Marcus, if you know anything about me, I am not doing anything at 6:25 a.m. that doesn't involve like a dog saying, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom." But once I'm done that, you can go back to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
Like, or get some coffee or something. Like, it's not. You don't have to go anywhere and deal with people. So
you ain't starting your day at 6:25.
I finally like, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm like, you know what? I got to do something about this now because this has got to change. I can't accept this. I mean, this is and the other thing is now it's created a layover situation at JFK that's going to be 7 hours long.
No, it's better than 37 minutes, but it's not much.
I'm not going to sit in JFK for I'd be halfway back to Orlando by then if I drove. Like, come on. Right. So I tried to make the change on Delta's website because I figured that's the easiest thing to do, and I don't have to talk to any people. And look, I save me aggravation, I save them money. Well, no, you can't do that because you booked it through Amex.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah, so now I got to call Amex, which shouldn't be a problem. I can call the platinum people or whatever, and I call, and and they tell me, they say something like, those messages that say, if you would like to hold, you can hold. If you would like us to call you back without losing your place in line, you can do that. And I have about half trust in that system.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I like the idea.
I'm not so sure you're really going to not, like, I don't know. Plus, I have trouble with answering my phone, so if it's like a blocked number or something, maybe I don't answer it, and that's going to be a problem. So I stay on, and it's only like a 6 minute, estimated 6 minute wait or something like that. It's like, okay, I can deal with this, right? Marcus, the on hold music was Kenny G. And I don't mean good Kenny G, and maybe for some people it's like there's no such thing, right? Oxymoron. But this is, it wasn't just Kenny G. It was like Kenny G with the volume dialed so that when it hit the high notes, it kind of just like
distorted.
Oh, it reached this resonance in my brain, like my skulls, like, and like I can't deal with this.
That's
not
overdriven
even
Kenny
G.
That's what you want.
And it just was like, wow, I just can't do this. And so I hung. I can't. I'm just going to call back another time. And I'm like, and then I thought about it, and I was like, this is the strategy.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You make it so painful,
so unpleasant,
that you're forced to either not call, or you do the call me back thing. No, please call me back. Yes, right. You were right. Where's
they
the bail?
Put that in there. They're like, or if you like, and you want to avoid the cranked to hell Kenny G, which we will be playing if you stay on hold, you can have us call you back.
Well, I think they should give you an escape clause, like, if at any time you would like to be called back instead of waiting, press 7. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's like a wager kind of thing. They're like, all right, well, you can hedge your bets now and have us call you back, or you can take your chances with our hold music, and your only way out is to hang up.
Exactly.
Let's play a game. It's like a bizarre version of Saw.
Oh, God, don't go there. So I still haven't fixed that. But the thing that's frustrating is that I can see, like on the Delta site, I can see another flight that's available.
I don't get what's happening.
I see the seat. I can see the seats. There's plenty of availability. It's at noon. It leaves at like noon or 12:30 or something in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. It would get in a little later into Orlando, but everything's much more reasonable. And I'm like, put me on that. It's empty.
I don't know what's happening. Every time I have ever booked a flight, particularly an international flight, a long time in advance, which I think is what you're supposed to do.
No, I don't.
It's never going. Like it's the flight of Theseus. It's like by the time I get to the actual time that we're flying, no part of my itinerary looks anything like what it did when it started.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, now you're flying out of Seattle. Jeez, thanks.
One other thing I have to talk about, since we're talking about sounds and my ears and resonance and all that stuff. I think I figured out, partially, I think I figured out the AirPod thing.
Oh, yeah?
Because I searched a little bit online, and apparently there is a known defect in the AirPods that creates a staticky sound. So I don't think it's like a vibration happening in my ear canal.
Yeah, okay. It's a noise.
It is, but it's not my ear canal creating the vibration. It's right. And so I went through the whole process of like doing the chat thing, and I'm out walking when I discover this and stuff, and I'm chatting with this person at Apple, I guess, or somewhere in the world, and he talking me through that, and he says to me, "What steps have you taken to troubleshoot so far?" And I feel like
I've listened to them and they have sucked.
What is this, like Socratic chat? Like what is this? Like I'm about to be judged. Like, and I just said I just told you like it just started happening with the new iOS. I figured it was something related to the iOS. I don't know what's happening. Like my step is I called you. I chatted with you. That's my step. Like what else am I supposed to do? Problem. Why do you exist? You exist for this reason. Right. I mean, imagine going to your doctor. You're like, yeah, my shoulder's really been hurting. And your doctor says, well, what have you done about it? Like, I made an appointment.
You guys always tell me you don't want me to do things on my own.
Right. What is this? Are you trying to get me? Are you trying to get me to say something? And he's like, oh, you should never do that.
Ah, right. Well, yeah, that voided the warranty. Sorry.
Well,
here's some Kenny G for you.
I dipped him in a bucket full of water. And that didn't do the trick.
Yeah. Tried hitting him.
I ran them over with my car.
Yeah.
I attached them to a squirrel.
Just I don't know. If that would help.
So, he says, well, and I knew he was going to say this. He says, well, like he wants me to reset them.
No, you could.
Yeah, apparently you can. It's not real.
What are they?
All it really does is it basically you forget it from your phone.
Oh, you just like unpair it,
like a hard reset. It's like a hard reboot, and I don't know. It's a silly thing. I think
AirPods. That's weird.
And of course I can't do it without the case, and I don't carry the case around with me when I'm out in the elements. And so I'm like, well, okay, I'll do it when I get home. And if it doesn't fix it, I guess I'll reach back out to you, right? And then he does this whole thing. Oh, you were so nice. You blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I guess because I didn't curse at you. So I get home, I do the thing. I try them out. I noticed I had them on today, and I'm walking. And now I think I walked with them since then, and they still had the staticky sound. But then today I'm walking, and there was no staticky sound. And I thought to myself, I bet it was an iOS thing. I bet they fixed it. I bet they patched something that fixed this maybe.
An update.
And then I thought, oh no. What if my brain is just adjusted to it now? What if the sound is still there? But you know how if you have like a blind, like your blind spots, you don't notice your blind spot unless you actually like do the whole paper thing where you can see the blind spot. Like your brain just kind of like filters that out.
Yeah.
What if it's like that? What if it's actually happening, but I don't hear it anymore?
That's a very you concern to have about this.
Well, don't be too worried because just about after I had this thought, 2 minutes later, it starts back like, no! And then I was like, wait, so did it happen now because there's the hardware thing, something just got rejiggered or something? Or did me thinking about it, I rediscovered the sound because right now your mind's like, oh, you want to hear it. I'm like, no. No, I don't want to hear it. In any event, I think it's still there. But
well, at least you know that it's a hardware problem and not a
I think
wetware
problem.
It
is. Yeah, I don't think it's a wet. Did you say wetware?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a wetware, bro. But it's a problem still, and I'm just afraid I'm gonna have to go to the Genius Bar to get this thing resolved because everything I read online is they have you take them in, they have a way to test them. I guess they plug them into something, probably a fake head or something, and then I'm like, have you cleaned that?
I think they probably just need to know the model number because I'm sure they have it down to not the model number, but the serial number. Yeah.
No, I gave him the serial number.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And then at one point he says, well, I see you have a limited warranty, because they didn't buy the Apple Care thing. I was like, don't even, because number one, it hasn't even been a year. Okay.
And these things are not working right. This isn't a
right. That's not. I'm sure under limited it means functioning. It doesn't mean
do any unapproved activities or anything with these things. Just using them.
Exactly. So. I'm
glad that you have a saga too that we're gonna follow.
Oh well, I got me. I got lots of sagas. Too many sagas. I'm really reluctant to bring the one thing up.
Is this the thing that you sent to me today?
No.
Oh, okay.
That
one's a whole show, I think.
Oh, you think? We should hold? We should just hold.
I think we should hold on that one.
Okay, that's. Or it's not. There's part of that. So I sent you two things. People are dying. They're like, just say it already. Okay. We'll save it. I think I can remember. I know I'm reluctant to bring this up because it may be crossing a line within our relationship.
Yep. Okay. So now I'm insatiably curious.
But I thought it would be appropriate for us to discuss decorative towels.
Ha ha. Oh yes, let's.
Because. And I think that this is going to be one of those things where there's going to be half the people listening who say oh my God, yes, this is yes, of course we have decorative, and there's going to be half that are saying,
no,
what
I
are
feel
you talking about?
I feel like we should begin by defining terms, and that is that decorative towels are not just towels that are fancy or look attractive, but they're towels that are there and are so much part of the decoration that they are not intended to be actually used as towels. That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yes. Right. Because decorative towels that are meant to be functional, that's a different problem. That's a different problem, in and of itself.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there where the moment of crisis when you're in a bathroom at someone else's house, and you see the decorative towel there, and Like there's no other option.
Right. So it's just got no choice.
But it's like the hanky from the 50s or something where you're like, you're gonna reuse that?
Right. There's that too. But I always go to the, because they're always hanging over something, right? I always go to the back part.
Everyone does it. That's the thing, though, because everyone thinks that they're being clever. Oh, I'm going to the back. You know that everyone's going to the back, so you have to go to some other part.
Right, true.
I'm not telling you which part I go to. I'm not telling you where I go. I'm not giving my... No, I'm giving it away. That's my section.
That's my little hidey hole.
It's always dry. But I'm talking about, like, but these are worse. These are those kinds of towels that they're like so they're like almost like, it's like intended for a single use, really, but it's not because they're there still, and it's too fancy to throw away, and there's no replacement. So you have to, but it's just, at this point, it's like a chamois. It's like a chamois that's dried off an entire car. And I'm gonna have to now wring it out before I use it or something. Like I can't. Like what am I supposed to do with? But that's not the kind of towel we're talking about.
No,
we're not talking about like pretty towels or something like that. We're talking about, I mean, like in this situation, this is a towel that actually looked like it's functional.
Yeah,
because it doesn't. I mean, it's not like overtly fancy. It's not like. Mm-hmm. Ostentatious or something. It's a towel that happens to look nicely draped over. It was like an oven handle or something.
Yeah, it was the oven handle.
Yeah. And it's there, and it's in the kitchen, and it looks nice. But you wouldn't think, like in my world, you wouldn't think like, oh, that's a decorative thing.
Right.
It's not like I wouldn't walk over to your curtains and like dry my hands on your curtains. You know what I mean? Like,
although I would so give you props for that.
I know the moment to do it would have been when you're like, oh no, that's a decorative towel. Like I should then walk. Oh, okay.
Go over and do the curtain. I'm so doing that.
But Michelle says, because we were over the other day, and Michelle says, but she actually had the foresight to think about it. That she was sensitive to it enough to say, oh, is this a towel I can use, or is this a decorative towel, or whatever she said.
And the thing is that honestly, we didn't care. I mean,
because you guys are you guys, right? It's like because if you had, it would have been fine. But
you can use our curtains for all I care.
But don't be careful. But it was just it just caused this moment where, and it's an interesting moment when I send a pin to Marcus when I'm in the same room.
Right. About something that just happened like in my own house.
Like in the moment. Like we're going to pin this.
And we learned our lesson from that night at Dahlia when we said, well, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to talk about it on the show. Right. And then neither of us could remember what that was.
We could never remember. I don't think, I'm dialing this one in right now for sure. Because, but I thought, I'm like, I mean, why? Like, why? Like, people do this. My mother does this. Other people do it. Like, why do we have things?
And it's such a mom thing to do, right? I mean, that's especially when we were kids. We always, the guest bathroom or the half bath, that's close to the living room or whatever, always had those towels in there. And then, like, your mom would be like, those are for the guests. But then the guests don't use them either because the guests are like, well, I don't want to use those. Obviously, nobody uses them. And it's
like the monogram or the special what about the paper, like the holiday napkins or holiday towels that people get that are like paper? They're disposable, but they look so nice that people don't want to use them. So people would prefer to use the very wet rag that's hanging on that everyone else has used tonight instead of using that nice napkin there. And you know why? It's like a tip jar. You got to seed the tip jar to get people to put tips in it. They need to know what to do. So I think similarly, if you have those fancy, going into the holiday period, guys, if you have those fancy napkins that are disposable and you want people to use them, but they're decorative. I mean, they're decorative, but they're functional. Like you want people to use them. They're disposable. They just look nice because they're like themed for the holiday or something. Mm-hmm. What you have to do is throw 2 or 3 of them. You have to crumple them up and throw 2 or 3 in the trash can. Yeah,
prominently.
Because you have to show displayed. People need to see that, oh, it's okay to use these.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Send your donations to. I got an itch all of a sudden. I'm like, I think something bit me while I'm sitting here.
While you're sitting?
Yeah. What the hell? I got this little bump. I don't know. This makes me a little nervous. Like, what else? What else are you gonna bite? Where did you go now?
I knew that when you finally lost it, it would be on the show. And then I get a buzz on my phone from you. And it says, pin decorative towels.
I mean, how do other people communicate with their friends, but if not with pins?
It's like we always send the pins about things we want to gripe about. And I think it's hilarious that right after something happens in my house, like, oh yeah, I need to tell you about this thing this dude just did.